On this episode of The Best, what is the best way to chart how well your career is developing? Let's take a look at that one. Now, a very famous self-help book from several years ago was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Pretty much everyone knows it, written by Robert Kiyosaki and telling the tale about how his own father was someone who didn't understand money and his friend's father was someone who did. And out of this came this cash flow quadrant that Kiyosaki used to show us how money flows in our careers and in our life. And he showed how we possess 4 different positions in life, and the money that we earn increases in proportion to which one we've got. So the first one he's got is E, which is an employee. When we're an employee of an organization, we are paid a salary, and maybe we are paid a bonus, and that's the end of it. And occasionally, every year, we might get a slight rise on that basis, but that's it. We know how much we're getting paid each month, and there's no scope to improve that, short of quitting the job and finding a better one. So at that point, we're paid a portion of what the business entity earns. The rest of it goes to other places, not us. So that's where we start. Then we go to SE, self-employed. Now, self-employed, we end up working for ourselves, and therefore we can control the business that comes in on that basis. And yes, we've still got a job, and yes, we might hate our boss a bit more than we used to, now it's ourselves, but nevertheless, we didn't used to be in control of where the business came from and how much we handled, and now we are. So in theory, the self-employed person earns more than the employed person if they are able to produce more than they were when they were employed for an organization. So we move from employed to self-employed. Then we go from E to SE to BO, okay? And not body odor, but business owner. And in business owner scenario, other people work for us. We might create the money at the top, or we might have salespeople doing that for us, but we own the asset, we own the entity, and therefore, on the assumption that we have a successful asset or entity, then the profits are ours. And therefore, we can pay people salaries, but mathematically, we can draw more value out of the business than we were as self-employed because we were limited to ourselves, and employed because we were told what to do. So when we're a business owner or an owner of several businesses, then we're in a situation where we can draw more. And then Kiyosaki suggests that the fourth and best of all of these 4 is I, investor. At this point, we have the money sat in the bank. We don't need it necessarily to meet the bills anymore. And we can start using it to grow our wealth in various different places, maybe not even businesses that we're directly involved in. Maybe it's property, maybe it's the stock market, maybe it's something else altogether. But as an investor, there's no longer work being done. The money now flows from people who are working into us as the investor because we get the return on our investment. So as we chart through our career, if we want to take a sort of a measure, the best possible measure of where we're up to, where are we? Are we an employee at this moment in time? Do we have ambitions beyond that? Are we self-employed and doing better, being paid more than we ever would have been paid in our job, but it all depends on us. The buck stops with us. If we're not vertical, there is no business. Are we a business owner now? The situation where I'm at personally, where I own more than one entity and I'm not necessarily involved in running them, or where I want to go, to investor, which is where my own strategic plan is taking me to, where then the money is the one that does the work. The Kiyosaki Quadrant, though it has been challenged, it has been criticized, and you draw your own conclusions as to whether you like the actual story that he paints around it, is nevertheless the best, simplest measure I have found to decide where you're going. Now, if you're not where you want to be in your career and you want to develop onto the next stage, click the link below to get the conversation started. Until then, I'll see you next time.